Um, Karibu to another week's conversation on matters of national importance. I've always wanted to use that line. This week, first I want to appreciate. We set up this channel on 19th of September 2022. So this week we celebrate exactly 1 year since we set up this channel. And in that year, we have done an average of 52 YouTube clips. That's an average of 1 a week. And you people have been kind enough to encourage us by subscribing. We are getting to above 6.5 thousand subscribers, which is, I'm told, something extremely encouraging, especially when you've never done this before. You've never had a YouTube channel. So it's something that we are quite excited that we are able to get traction. This channel allows us to do many things. It allows us to keep an eye on what the country is going, but more importantly, it allows you to challenge us and for us to challenge the public about things that are happening across the country. So we are very excited that we've been able to actually carry this on for a year, and we look forward to very many years. And as always, we keep inviting you to subscribe and to join us so that we are able to keep this journey and to move this journey together. In addition to us being in this channel for 1 year, the Kenya Kwanza government has been in office for 1 year this week. And of course, if you listen to the ordinary mwananchi out there, you have a lot more negative conversation than positive conversation. Having been in office, in a political office, I completely appreciate that it is easier to identify the things that are going wrong with any government or administration than the things that are going right. And of course, I cannot run away from the fact, it's right there in front of our faces, that the cost of living is actually high. Absolutely no doubt about it. When the petrol gets to over 200 shillings a litre, diesel, same. Kerosene, the same. Things are thick. And as I said on another platform I have, tea for tough, things are tough. But then also, if we are going to get out of where we are, we're going to get to where we are trying to get, it will be tough. And for anybody, kujitegemea inakuanga hard sana. So, as a friend of mine commented in this room, yes, sometimes you say, serikali ipatiwe time, but of course, that comes out as a cliche. Some people think you're being sarcastic. But the reality is that 1 year down the road, we can look at what this government has done. Some things are obvious that we take for granted. We're still here. We have a country that is running. We have county governments that are running. We have members of parliament who are doing their work. County assemblies are running. People are going about their business. As hard as it is, people are going about what they can at the level that they are at, which is something. So yes, the misses are there. And the fact of the matter is that you can, with this glass of the Kenya Kwanza government, it's not full. It's not empty. People have this argument about whether the glass is half empty or half full. The reality is that the one thing we can all agree on is that it is not empty. A couple of things have been done. Some of them have been done without us even realizing. And I want us to walk through just 10 of the issues that I personally have identified and I think have been done in various structures and various sectors. And things that we might not be realizing are happening, but that are happening positively. I've always said that the role of every leader is to give hope. There is so much negativity around us that somebody must stand up and say, okay, things are tough, but they will get better, or they're getting better, or they have gotten better. Somebody must do that. And if everybody is doing negativity, I choose to be the eternal optimist, as Mohammed Hassi says, and I keep trying to push people and focus them on the things that are working, even as we deal with the things that are not working. So let me deal with the things that are working. The first thing I want to talk about is infrastructure. In the last 12 months, the one thing that has happened, and as I noticed as I was coming down to Nyeri from Nairobi, the projects that were there under the Uhuru government have continued to be worked on. There was always a fear that they would stop. They're continuing. This is good for several reasons. One, the infrastructure network continues to be done. Two, people continue getting work. Skilled, unskilled, semi-skilled people are working. That is a good thing. So we have infrastructure projects going on, whether it's the housing projects, whether it is the roads, whether it is the connectivity, whether it's the dams, infrastructure projects are going on. That is a good thing. The other thing that has happened that is pretty important, that is a continuation, is a social welfare thing. Inua Jamii had stalled for maybe the last close to 2 years This particular government has started another enrollment. 600,000 Kenyans who are aged 70 years and above have been enrolled. And I understand that money is coming by the 28th of every month, which is a good thing, the way it is supposed to come. The third thing that is important that has happened, government funds, CDF. This government was able to proudly state that by the end of the financial year that passed on 2022-2023, they had disbursed all funds that were due to members of parliament, and they had disbursed all funds that were due to the county governments. That is a big thing. In fact, sometimes I think we are not as attentive about what county governments are doing as we are about what national government is doing, because it means every place that a Kenyan is living, that particular county government has received their funds. And we should be asking what they're doing with that money. Again, that is not something that used to happen in the past, and that is something that has stood out. Security. The guns have gone silent in the north. Kindiki has been pretty active, just trying to make sure banditry attacks and everything, and we've seen that go down to a large extent. The other day I saw him at the passport control office. I see them dealing with DCI about certificates of good conduct. Some work is being done within the security department, security sector, and there's a flow of sorts that is happening. Again, might not be a big thing, but cumulatively, progress is being made. Then we go to education. Now, education is a big thing. First, 56,000 teachers have been employed in 1 year. That is, I don't know, like 10 times what has been done in any particular year in our recent past. So 56,000 teachers employed, 642 billion shillings dedicated to the Ministry of Education. That is a really, really, really huge thing that we need to think about. CBC has been streamlined. We have an idea. There was a lot of confusion during the transition of government about what was going to happen to CBC. Now we have an idea of what is going on. So at least we know something is happening there. TVETs, money is being put into TVETs. There's a lot of exposure to TVETs. Movement. Digital economy is the next thing that this government has been working on very, very hard. So we have these hotspots being opened up all over the place. Marketplaces, I know here in Nyeri there's one. I don't know about the marketplace near your place, but we're supposed to have 25,000 hotspots across the country, so that people can be able to access internet without paying for them. That is amazing because of how many openings it gives, especially to young people, to do content creation, influencers, to do just basic trade, but then also to be able to access some of the basic financial services, whether it's from Safaricom or from the bank. So that is something that has gone towards expanding our digital economy. We look at agriculture. Now, agriculture, we are agriculture-driven economy for sure. Government has given out fertilizer. I think I don't know whether it's 5 million bags of fertilizer or something like that. And I know there's been this argument. Now the cost of food has gone down, but people are arguing that cost of food can go down if the diesel costs are still high. But can we at least give credit where it's due? Cost of food has gone down. Somebody else said, oh, it's an act of God, the rains have come, But let's be very honest. Rains have always come. This country has harvested 40 million bags of maize annually. This year, very high possibility that we're going to harvest 62 to 66 million bags of maize. That extra 26 million, you have to trace it to somewhere. One of the things this government did was to register farmers. I think they registered 5 million farmers. And to be able to ensure that these farmers are able to access, that becomes a process of accessing fertilizer and just getting services to you based on what you want. If this has been happening, then we have to connect the extra increase in maize production to this fertilizer. I keep saying let's give credit where it's due, and we do need to give credit where it's due. I want to finish with the most controversial one. Actually, no, the second last one. Hustler Fund. The Hustler Fund sounded like stories ajaba, but it's happening. I mean, I read about whether we are talking about 300 billion or something like that. It's gone to people. We have close to 60% as repeat users of the Hustler Fund. It's been used. I mean, for most of us in the middle class and above, you most probably don't understand how the Hustler Fund helps. But for a lot of people who need 500, 1,000 shillings, 2,000 shillings, 3,000 shillings to just be able to run their business on a daily basis, that particular fund is making a substantive difference. Whether it's Mambo, whatever, Boda, people who just do basic, very micro enterprise trading. That fund has come in to make a big difference. So that's something we can also talk about over the last 12 months. Final one. I want to be specific to personalize this one. The presidency itself. we have William Ruto, we have Rigathi Gachagua. One of the things we have seen over the last 12 months, I don't remember seeing this in any other first year of a new presidency. The amount of work that has actually been done in terms of activity. We've seen Ruto do ACS, we've seen him go to Unga, we've seen him travel around the world, travel around the country. Nearly every weekend he's in a different part of the county. We've seen him hold cabinet meetings in different parts of the country. We've seen him hosted in state lodges we didn't even know existed, like in Western. I didn't know there was a state lodge in Western. We've seen him go to different parts of the country and take government to that part of the country. He came to Sagana, he held a cabinet meeting in Sagana, he stayed here for 5 days. What that did is bring government to Central, to Nyeri, and we all felt that effect. So that particular kind of leadership was not something that we were used to before, something that we have seen during these 12 months, and it has made a difference. It has, you can't argue that this country has somebody who's leading it. You can argue about how he's leading it, but you can't argue about the fact that he's leading it. This particular weekend, President Ruto is in the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA. He's been to Silicon Valley. He's done some things. When he does them, you keep asking, how come other people never used to do stuff like this? It's just literally working. You can actually see him churning out man-hours of work. You see his ethic, his work ethic, you see his discipline, and you can't help but give him credit. If nothing else, I get the feeling that Ruto is going to work 2 to 3 times more per day than any other president we've had. And if just that alone could actually make him work twice as hard as any president we've ever had. But anyway, still early days, it's just 1 year. As I finish, the biggest story right now is fuel. And guys are angry. 214 shillings per litre. It's a lot of money. The reality of it is this. We are in a country where for 10 years, we import 100% of the petroleum products that we use. 100%. They come in refined. We closed down our refineries on 1st September 2013. So first and foremost, we bring in refined products, store them. So we have landed costs, we have storage costs, we have distribution costs, and then we have taxes. We're getting hammered on that area. And part of it is just the way it is. The second thing is we're not the only ones getting hammered. I think in this region, except TZ and South Africa, every other country is selling fuel more expensively than we are. That's Rwanda, Uganda, even abroad, the UK, the US, France, their fuel is actually more expensive than ours at this moment in time. So that's the second thing we need to think about. The government has tried to set up a stabilization fund, which is built up from the Petroleum Development Levy. They want to use that to stabilize costs. They need 6.5 billion shillings to be able to stabilize our costs. I think they have 3.5. So again, you can tell we're going to have a bit of a problem for a while. I don't want to be a pessimist and say we're going to have this problem for a long time, as some have said, but I think we're also going to have to be realistic that we're going to have to tighten our belts, tighten our kanyanga mafuta pole pole, and figure out how we're going to keep moving, because keep moving, we must. So that's what I have for this week. A look at the 12 months of President Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua and the Kenya Kwanza government, and a small conversation about fuel. We'll continue these conversations hopefully over the next, as we get into the second year, we hopefully are going to be able to do more than one clip per week. See how that, we tried that out and we want to now try and institutionalize it. Anyway, thank you so much for staying with us. May God bless you. God bless Kenya. As always, we are shooting from Rware Central. Karibu soup, karibu chai na mandazi, accommodation, karibu for nyama choma. We are here to serve. We are happy to serve. Thank you.